I think this is the biggest event that's happened in India in the last 4 or 5 years, where we've been seeing startups grow. And the reason is very simple to me. Prime Minister Modi has decided he is going to be the mentor for Indian startups. And he has decided that jobs are going to be created for the educated middle class in startups. And we have suggested 3.5 million jobs are going to be created in this area in the next 10 years. Last decade was the decade of the IT services, 4 million jobs. This decade is going to be IT services plus startups. So he's a man who wants jobs and he's understood innovation. He's seen what is happening and he's pushing. And that's why we saw secretaries come and tell us nice things. Secretaries never come on a stage to say nice things to anybody. So they're all saying nice things, especially the revenue secretary, and this is fantastic. I've never seen something like this in the last 20 years. I've been working with government, even when the IT service industry is going on. So I think it's an inflection point driven from the top with an understanding that India's future lies in innovation, India's future lies in the young, India's future lies in entrepreneurship, and the young people who are here today are going to redefine India over the next 20 years.
Dr. Pai, if I had to ask you three, policy tweaks or three big reforms that will actually push the startup story in India, what would you put your money on?
Well, I'll put my money on the fact that policies in starting companies, in forex regulations, which are horrible today, and in taxation, and in M&A, so that companies stay in India. 6 out of 8 unicorns are outside India. So what are we doing? We have become a colony of a company in Singapore. And these are India's biggest companies, and we take pride in them. They're not Indian companies anymore. They're not Infosys or a Wipro or a TCS, which are in India. They're outside. And if they sell themselves, the money is going to go outside. The IP belongs outside. The value is going to be outside. Forex is going to be outside. So we are lost 6 out of 8. And if you look at the B2B, or the top 30, 10 are gone. And if you look at growth and seed company, which are top 100, 50% have gone out in 2014, 75% in 2015. So I expect a set of policies to keep them here. Second, the fund of fund with the promise of 10,000 crores. I sit on the Indian Aspiration Fund Investment Committee. We already given out 1,100 crores to 25 funds, and that's going to catalyze 9,000 crores of investment. So this 2,000 crore fund, I estimate, will be over by March. So we need a balanced money. With 10,000 crores, we can catalyze 100,000 crores of investment because it is about 10% of the funds in the next 5 to 6 years. And that will set the market on fire. That is number 2. And the third thing, which is very important, is how do startups work with government? Because when you do government tenders, the tenders are written in a particular manner to get everybody. Because, I work in industry, I understand the big four write the tenders. And, some of them are captured. And many of the tenders are written by vendors themselves to make sure others don't get in. And startups don't stand a chance because they'll say minimum 500 crores and startups say, no, they don't have minimum crores. Profit record of 3 years, none of them made money yet. So we need to make sure that tenders are done in a way that startups can compete for business because these are the people who can transform India. The bigger companies, we can do great jobs, but we want them to compete with this startup because they are very innovative and their solutions could be more cost effective. These are 3 big things I would expect from Prime Minister Modi. That he be a mentor. And if he says, I'm going to be your mentor, oh, that's enough. The world will be on fire.
Absolutely. And if you were talking about 3 sectors where you're going to see startups boom in the country, what would they be?
Well, first sector I would put my money on is biotechnology. Because I think that's huge because the most important asset for human beings is life. And how to prolong life and the quality of life. And today we are more billionaires than any time in history. And I'm sure a billionaire will pay $10-20 million to live 5 years better. So, but you got to find the long gestation. And the second will be on the internet companies. And the internet companies primarily because the internet will create a country for the first time. We want 1.25 billion people to be connected together. We are a country with 29 states and we are separate. Now on one platform, young people from Kohima will talk to Bangalore, will talk to Pune, to Jaipur. They can all talk together synchronously, asynchronously. And the platform can scale up to the globe. So I think this internet companies, they got a model where they can scale up like Gaurav is doing in Jigsaw, He's scaled up to all over the world in just two years. I ran the corporate news for Infosys. I couldn't do it, but he's done it. So that's one. So internet companies. And the third companies I would bet on are women entrepreneurs. They're the best kept secret in India. Women make up 65-70% of all consumer decisions. And only a woman can understand a woman's mind as to why a woman buys some stuff. Now, we have got India's first women's fund. And I would bet on women entrepreneurs in a big way because they understand the consumer market and how people buy. And we need to encourage them. And if 50% of India come up and take the due share I think you're going to see a radically change India. So these are 3 areas I would invest.
All right. And one final question before I let you go, Dr. Pai. We are talking about one hand, Achhe Din, and there's going to be a big boom for startups, digital India, ease of doing business, make in India, etc. But reality is, we are talking about very tough economic conditions, not just in the country, across the globe, currency devaluation, equity market tremors, etc. Do you think, given this kind of environment, there will be some sort of hesitation in the mind of youngsters to actually go out there and take this risk, which inevitably is involved with starting up?
Youngsters should have no hesitation starting the companies, because the only thing they got to lose is the investors' money. So they can start again, okay? And they got to get the investors' money. So I don't think so. Look, business, the reality of business is boom and bust. In 20 years of the IT service industry, we've seen many booms, many busts, many times they wrote us off, many times we resurrected ourselves. We've grown and they become the largest in the world with 55% market share. So I think the opportunity is enormous, the market is enormous, and in times of stress, if you start, when things go well, you will just take off. So I think it's very important that you must start now. And this boom and bust is for big people, it's for mature markets like America, the financial sector. It's not for startups. Because startups have space, they're so small. They can go 100% year for 5 years, they still won't make a dent. You understand? So I think they shouldn't be bothered. They just go pitch in the idea, work 24/7, not take high salaries. Okay, leave on a pizza a day and idli sambar a day and play them in the evening with a pickle for STC and work very hard. In 5 years, they'll succeed.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.